A warm welcome to AD4TV Radio News Update, coming to you live from Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital. I am Merciful Ajinomo. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to ending Boko Haram terrorism in the northeast. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, related the President's message when he led a federal government delegation to commiserate with the Christian community in Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria, over the killing of 2 clergymen in the state. He urged Christians to not allow the pains caused by Boko Haram create disharmony between Christians and Muslims. Responding, the Adamawa State Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Bishop Stephen Dami Mamza, thanked the delegation for the visit and urged followers of the 2 religions to not succumb to the antics of insurgents whose agenda is to divide the country.
Today I have come to share in the grief of the people and the government, and of particular note, the Christian community in Adamawa State over the unfortunate and gruesome murder of 2 members of the Christian community who are clergy in their own right. I have come on behalf of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to share this grief and to commiserate with you, my Lord Bishop, and the entire Christian community and the good people of Adamawa State.
Your presence here this evening, Your Excellency, has softened our hearts. Your presence has given us comfort and assurance from the presidency that the presidency is aware of the situation and that the presidency is aware of our feelings and our grief, and the presidency, by the grace of God, will do everything possible in order to make sure that such thing does not occur again anywhere in this country.
As Nigerians join the rest of the world to commemorate the International Day of Education, government and stakeholders have been urged to collaborate to bring the over 10 million out-of-school children back to school in the country. The Senior Special Advisor to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, AD4TVRADIO, gave their advice in Abuja at an event to mark the day. AD4TVRADIO stressed the need for collective engagement to complement government strategic steps to promote quality and inclusive education in the country.
As we are celebrating this year International Day of Education, let us be reminded that for every 5 out-of-school children in the world, I doubt if Nigeria is not one. And out of 10.3 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, 60% of them are girls. This is very, very unfortunate, and we must do everything humanly possible. Everything humanly possible, everything politically possible, and every support that we can gather, every partnership we can gather, every movement we can make to ensure that all our children all over Nigeria, in the rural community, in the riverine areas, in the cities, everywhere in Nigeria, must return to school.
The Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Professor Abubakar Rashid, says his agency is in the final stage of a draft review of Nigeria's university curriculum. Rashid made this known at a high-level interactive dialogue commemorating this year's International Day of Education at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Speaking as a panelist at the event, hosted by the President of the UN General Assembly, Ambassador Tijani Mohammed Bande, in New York, he said the move is part of efforts by the federal government to revitalize the country's tertiary education system. According to him, the draft review of the curriculum is to be concluded closely with industries in the country in order to identify the gaps between the classroom and workplace experience. Still talking education, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund will provide resources for the construction of an ultra-modern library at the Federal University, Gusau, Zamfara State, North Central Nigeria. The Executive Secretary of TETFund, Professor Suleiman Elias Bogoro, stated this Friday when he visited the institution ahead of its maiden convocation ceremony. He stated that TETFund has lined up developmental programs for the university for the year 2020. He remarked that the full implementation of the project will commence when the year's budget takes off. The Executive Secretary noted that TETFund is now deviating from project execution to intervention in research and development, will also redirect resources for postdoctoral research programs for national development and impact. A raging fire has destroyed several properties in the early hours of Friday across the city of Lagos State, southwest Nigeria. The fire outbreak occurred at various areas and residential buildings in Agege, Ikeja, Ajayi Road, Ogba and Amutimba Market in Mushin local government areas of Lagos State. Director General of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Femi Okin-Osaintolu, said the fire incidents were curtailed by combined efforts of emergency response outfits like the Lagos Fire Service, Nigeria Police and the Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps. A virologist at the University of Ilorin has said that Nigerians spend over $800 million on malaria treatment annually. Professor Olatunji Kolawole of the Department of Microbiology, Faculty of Life Sciences, made this known in his presentation at the 190th inaugural lecture of the University of Ilorin. Kolawole stated that Nigeria records over 1 million malaria cases each year, with each treatment costing about $8.3, but in spite of this huge amount expended in treatment, the scourge has not been contained. You're watching AD4TV Radio News Update, coming to you live from Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital. We'll go on a short break. Coming up next, AfricMil unveils project to empower religious leaders against misinformation. EU-UN Federal Government of Nigeria call for the safety of humanitarian workers. Stay.
AD4TV Radio, we focus on education with emphasis on research and innovation, science and technology, women and girl-child education, children, health, youth and sports, socio-political and economic reforms, security, environment, entrepreneurship, and entertainment. We'll give you information at your fingertips. Learn on the go. Follow AD4TV Radio on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. AD4TV Radio, reliable and credible.
We love you, AD4TV Radio.
You're welcome back. African Center for Media and Information Literacy has unveiled a media and information literacy and interreligious dialogue project to empower religious leaders to fight misinformation. According to the coordinator, AfricMil, Dr. Chido Onuma, at the launch of Media and Information Literacy in Abuja, the project aims at creating awareness on the importance of MIL and to promote its relevance as a catalyst for peaceful communication. He stressed the need to significantly reduce violence through sensitization of religious leaders as persons whose opinions matter to the dangers of hate speech and spreading fake news. Also speaking on the occasion, Dr. Garba Abari, the Director General, National Orientation Agency, who was represented by his special assistant, pledged the agency's support to the project and commended AfricMil for the initiative, saying that lessons learned in the pilot stage of the project should be taken to other parts of the country to help curb religious crisis nationwide.
This project is expected to help religious leaders distinguish facts from opinion, know how to find reliable information about issues of concern, and understand how language is used to create certain emotional responses. They will be able to recognize and respond to groups or individuals that are using the internet to promote stereotypes, espouse radicalism, or even call for violence. They will thus be empowered to address negative messages as a way of ensuring peace in their community. This project will also empower religious leaders on basic understanding of how journalists and news outlets and social media work, how to differentiate between factual reporting and opinion, how to recognize a hate website, and how to counter rumors. This engagement would make religious leaders positively correct misunderstanding, reach out to their neighbors, and counter inaccurate perception about religion and religious communities.
The European Union, United Nations, and the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disasters and Development Nigeria, in a joint press briefing, concluding the official first visit to Africa of the EU Commissioner for Crisis Management, Yanis Lenarchik, in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, said that there is the need to combat terrorism in the northeastern part of Nigeria and secure the lives of humanitarian aid workers who have become targets of the terrorists.
Of course, in view of my mandate, crisis management, which includes humanitarian aid and civil protection, I had to put some emphasis on the humanitarian situation, in particular in the Northeast. And I'd like to underline that we, Europe and Nigeria, share our common fight against terrorism. We support the efforts of Nigeria to combat this menace, to combat terrorism. Additional aspect, which is important and I underlined in my discussions here, is the need to ensure security and safety of humanitarian workers.
We are here to send a joint message. We are extremely worried about the challenges faced by civilians and aid workers in the northeastern states of Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. In recent weeks, we have seen an upsurge in violent attacks from non-state armed groups and an increasing trend of illegal checkpoints on major supply and commercial routes, directly targeting civilians, authorities, and aid workers, especially in Borno State.
The magnitude of humanitarian challenges has impacted greatly on Nigeria, leaving many in dire need of assistance for the basic needs and necessities of life. It is against this background that government, through the ministry, has taken the lead in tackling the situation.
Sudanese transitional government and an unnamed rebel group have signed a preliminary peace deal paving the way for a possible reconciliation. The signing ceremony was held in South Sudan's capital, Juba, and was overseen by the South Sudanese President Salva Kiir. The agreement seeks to resolve the long-standing dispute on the sharing of resources, land, and unify all the various militias and government involved in the conflict into a single military. The Sudanese General Dagalo said the government of Sudan is more willing to reach a peaceful settlement in Sudan. Following the recent outbreak of the coronavirus in various cities in China, the country is building within 10 days a hospital that can house 1,000 patients infected with the virus that has so far infected 800 people and killed over 26 others, which has prompted a lockdown of some cities by the Chinese government. Among the cities so affected are Wuhan and 9 of its neighbors in central China's Hubei province. Thousands of people protested in the annual March for Life this Friday in Washington, D.C., America, in commemoration of the Roe versus Wade lawsuit in 1973, the landmark Supreme Court judgment that legalized abortion in the United States. The protesters, who are mostly representatives of religious groups, call on the government to criminalize abortion. President Donald Trump became the first U.S. president to attend the march, where he pledged his support for the pro-life group. On a lighter mood, some people are of the opinion that when it comes to fashion, you have to be stylish and comfortable. But can you compromise style for comfort? Are we comfortable with the current trend of dressing? Let's have your views on this by joining the conversation on our social media platforms showing on your screen. That's it on AD4TV Radio News Update, coming to you live from Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital. You can join the conversation on our website at www.ad4tvradio.com. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube page at AD4TV Radio. Many thanks for watching. I am Merciful Ajinomo.